Why do you think most people are scared of debt? And ironically, that's the thing holding them back from actually getting rich.
Debt is painted as a unique word. It really comes down to leverage. And the difference between those who, in my opinion, are successful and those who maybe aren't as successful is, are you willing to leverage? And that's really all the fundamental is when getting into business. How much are you willing to leverage? Your time, your capital, your network to get where you need to go to hit your goals. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And I think about banks, right?
Yep.
And like people are like, oh, the bank, you put your money in the bank and then they lend it out or
Yep.
they do things with it. So they're actually leveraging your money. The question is, why aren't you leveraging theirs?
That is the golden question because in our eyes, I feel like society has painted that the money that you have, that's kind of like all you have in the sense.
Mm,
Being able to leverage has inherent risk to it. And when the word risk is painted in a light of, oh, this could go wrong, then it kind of steers people away from wanting to leverage and only using what they have. That's why most people, if they're going to start a business, they're going to probably use the capital from maybe their main job or maybe from stuff that they've saved up from, uh, rather than, let's just say, a 0% interest loan, i.e., a credit card that
mm.
could give you the runway without accessing your direct nest egg, which can potentially give you more runway, gives you more opportunity, and gives you more leverage.
What's going on, guys? I'm here with Gray Friend, somebody who has built a technology platform that allows you to turn credit into cash very, very easily and seamlessly. Now, as someone who loves what you do because it's what I did 5 years ago, leverage 92K from Chase, American Express, US Bank, other banks as well. And it bought me time in order to build the
Yep.
business of my dreams and the life of my dreams. Um, Go ahead and introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. My name is Gray Friend. I'm the CEO and founder of Kashu. We're a technology platform, and we've been going for the last couple of years. We've been able to help thousands of people now uh, access capital to be able to send, spend, and move it as they please. And we're launching our full platform here in the next week or two that is out for the public to use at their disposal to cover a bill, make a payment, expand their business, you name it. So just giving people the opportunity, that's been our MO since day one. And it's been a lot of fun doing so, a lot of trial and error. We're the first ones to really do it in this fashion. And doing so is about limiting the error when you're doing trial and error, and paving a way that can successfully not only breed a healthy business, but breed a healthy tool that folks can take advantage of to excel in their life and expand whatever they're working on.
Cool. As someone who has used debt, as I just explained, 92K was my first big leverage that allowed me to build the life that I have now, six figure a month income, so on and so forth. What is different about what you do versus maybe like Split It with Walk, right? Or Klarna with fan bases, Afterpay, Zip, all of these different companies that I encourage people to use right now
Mhm.
because they're the options that I know about. How would you say you guys are different?
Absolutely. So we kind of run adjacent to those, in my opinion, whereas those are payment mechanisms to cover a bill over time. We're more so in the toolbox category for those specific users that can access the cash from their credit. You yes, you can make a payment, but for us specifically, it's more so of a tool rather than a payment method. And that's how it is right now. We'll see where it goes over time. But relative to those pieces of technology that off your card month over month, this is a different again tool in your shed that can be used to make a cash payment, make a wire or an ACH transfer effectively from your credit card while it
Mhm.
gives you the points, the rewards, the spend, and the bonus. And you don't have to use your capital. You can get, again, all the upsides of a regular purchase,
Mhm.
but being able to access that limit that you already have. That's what I would say if that kinda covers those
Yeah,
points, but, run in tandem. I think there's a world where you could do a pay over time for what we do, but we'll definitely get there. Just getting
yeah.
off the ground with the main platform at the moment.
Sure. It seems like liquidation is the focus, right? So when I think about like how we trade, right? Um, you can't put a credit card on Robinhood,
Correct.
right? So this would be great for people that, maybe they paid for our expertise, me and my
Correct.
teams. They're trading with a few grand, but they're like, damn, 200% returns on these trades with only a few grand. I wish I invested more,
Correct.
right? Something you brought up when we were off camera. They can now take their 10K limit on Chase Sapphire
Yep.
and do what exactly with it?
Absolutely. So you're able to transfer the open to buy, the credit, and be able to have it in your bank account or in your wallet, and you can send it to where you please, whether that's your preferred bank account or directly to places like Coinbase and Robinhood. So there's currently, like you said, there's no method. There's no method for no streamlined method, I should say, that's directly meant for this to put credit into these non traditionally credit accepting verticals, and we'll definitely get into that. But just the amount of use cases is by far been fascinating, and again, being able to access that because, like I said, yeah, when a stock or a coin or something of that nature goes up, you wish you invested more.
Yeah.
Though investing with credit is has its own kind of quirks. Um, I would suggest doing your due diligence. I would suggest making sure that you are properly ready and prepared to use OPM to invest in something. So that's about, being able to be in your group and to be able to purchase a membership of something like that to where you feel adequately prepared to use alternate capital to make a decision like that.
Sure. And honestly, like just for my clients or potential clients, it can go either way in the context of like, if you want to liquidate credit to pay us for our expertise and our service to make sure you are investing strategically the right way, you can do that and then trade with your own cash. If you want to
Mhm.
do it the reverse way, like, hey, pay us for our service with your cash and then liquidate more credit into cash to be able to trade with, that's also fine. Um, I only talk about and interview people for that matter, things that I really believe in, and
Yeah.
what you're doing is one of those things.
Thank you.
So, I guess from here, let me ask you this. Somebody has a Chase Sapphire card with 10K. What actually happens in the platform? Like, do they just put it in? Like, talk to me about like the
Sure.
logistics.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, you're going to sign up and make an account. We have proprietary KYC technology that's going to verify you. Of course, you're going to put in your own details to make sure you are you and to limit fraud because that's the number one thing that we are focused on is preventing any ill intent on our platform. After you put in such information, you then have the ability to plug in as many cards as you want. If you have one card or two cards or 10 cards, you're able to put that into your wallet, much like the Apple Wallet on your phone. And at that point, simultaneously, you can connect your bank account or your payout method of choice. Soon it will be these other platforms like Robinhood, Coinbase, PayPal, where you can take money off of your card in the app and it loads into your wallet. And then you're able to transfer it to a connected, verified bank account on file, or again, a verified account on file as well. So giving people the freedom to do that is our our mission. It's a really simple process. It takes all of 2 minutes to sign up. It
Mhm.
takes another minute to float around the platform. It's as easy as Venmo, as Cash App, and anything else out there. And that's the thing is making it frictionless. So super simple process.
Tell me about your clients today and like what are they using Cashew for?
Absolutely. A majority of the folks that we have seen are using it for business operations, business expansion, folks in real estate. So you currently can't make a down payment on a property via a title company or anything like that with a credit card, but you can do a wire. So being able to be that medium between your credit card and the ability for you to buy something, that's what people are using it for. Of course, it's a wide range. Folks are looking to make payroll with a credit card. You can't do that. Folks are looking to put money into platforms like Coinbase and like Robinhood to trade. That's another big one. A lot of people are also doing a variety of transactions. There's one that I frequently talk about. It's honestly one of my favorite stories. Is there's a lady actually out here in Phoenix, and about a year ago, she had She had 200K or so in credit, and she wanted to take off about 160K to purchase an airplane for her airplane school out here.
Mm,
Well, she needed to get that airplane, and she found one on Facebook Marketplace. Well, that gentleman on Facebook Marketplace, how was he able to take a smorgasbord of credit card payments from someone that ranged from 10K here, 13K, 40K, all in one to accumulate this 160K? Well, long story short, he couldn't, just like the average person can't.
mhm.
So she came to us. She accessed 160K or so, and she sent him a wire. And now she purchased a cash generating asset, which was the first plane for her flight school. So that's one of my favorite stories. But it's all across the board, man. People do a lot of really cool things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about my whole credit journey and it's like, what did I actually use 92K for? Um, I used it the first investment I ever made was I paid Cole Gordon, who actually is in Scottsdale,
Mhm.
10 grand to learn, um, basically the ins and outs of the internet business and
Wow.
understand, how to get customers online, how to build a product or service that people love, how to sell over Zoom and over the phone, and now I built what I built. That was one of the things I paid for. I've definitely spent over 6 figures investing in myself, and, like, if it
Nice.
wasn't for credit, I'd honestly still have a job. So, curious to know a little bit about your backstory and how you even got into this business.
Absolutely. So I went the traditional route. I went to college, got a couple engineering degrees, but during that, I found myself tinkering with online money. Back in 2020 or so, I started on Shopify, and I eventually built a brand that went on to do almost 7 figures, and that was pretty cool. And that came crashing down, but I still had credit that I had gotten from that. After that, I had been approached by my now partner about an investment opportunity for real estate. This was going to be a franchise location, coffee and bagels, coolest thing, something unique, something entrepreneurial. Wanted to chase that bug because my e-commerce business at that point just didn't work out. So to get this project rolling, we needed to have about 2 to 300K. He had traditionally, or I'm sorry, he had originally gone through a program, credit stacking, and he got 80 to 120K or so and 0% credit. And he's like, hey, I need help. Match me on this. Let's go in on this project, go through this credit stacking route as well. So that's what we did. I got myself an Age Corp. So got like a corporation that was 10, 11 years old and had a decent credit score. Thankfully, my mom and my dad, they had, had me on their cards ever since I was young. So I had a decent credit score and walked into Chase, Bank of America, American Express, and a couple others simultaneously, uh, got all this credit. And yeah, we came up with the money that we needed for this project, but it took cash to do it. It took cash to make the payments for the building. It took cash to buy inventory. It took cash to pay folks and beyond. And we're like, well, hey, we have this capital. How do we turn it to cash, to working capital, really? And it was a messy process. We were invoicing each other, buying and selling stuff, you name it. But we got enough off to where it was able to be used. And that project actually failed too, but we told about it in a Facebook group that we're in.
Mm,
And as soon as, like we had mentioned, that we were able to successfully take cash off of cards, people started asking us if they could do the same.
mm,
And that was the light bulb idea that we had. It was scrappy, it was messy, and definitely was a fun start. But in the first 90 days, we'd done $1 million in transaction volume with Google Sheets and Google Forms. And that's when we knew we had something cool. At that point, we sat and thought, we're like, how many other credit groups are there? Surely this can't be the only one.
mm,
And after that, we started going door to door. Within 3 months after that, our first 6 months, that 6 month, we hit $1 million in March. March, it was a whole month. We had crossed $1 million, and we're like, wow, this is insane. Kept going to more and more groups, finds this solution, helped more and more people. And by that summer of 2024, we had crossed, like, we were doing 3 to 4 million a month, and it just became more and more. And now it's just snowballing. So it all started from a series of unsuccessful ventures
mhm,
utilizing leverage to now realizing that this is a common issue between people who have credit that want to dive into what they're doing, but don't know how to access the capital in a uh, the right way, I should say. So that's really kind of the lore behind it, and it's been ever since then we've processed and been able to move $100 million with uh, no ad spend, just word of mouth. And
$100 million in transactions?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
No ad spend, just word of mouth.
No, I mean, I won't lie. We did a little bit of Google to see what would pop up, and that's where the idea of the software came from. So all this time, we've been doing this process manually. If you wanted to come on, it was you fill out a form, you book a call. 2 days later, you have that call. Then you fill out an internal form. We're going to take business docs. We're going to take uh, a series of information, and then we're going to invoice you after you sign the agreement. So this process could take bare minimum a few hours,
Mm,
up to a few days. And what we found was it is extremely manual. We're texting people, emailing people, calling people. Um, it's cool. It's great. It did really well. It's doing really well. What happened was when we did a little bit of Google, people came to us asking for 200 bucks, 300 bucks, 500 bucks, stuff to pay rent, take care of a bill. Our minimums at the time, just for the sake of our sales guys and for the sake of time, it didn't make sense for us to do a ticket that small. And it was a minimum of 2K that we had, and we realized that if we ever want to hit that ICP, we're going to need to automate this.
yeah.
Fortunately, we've been able to capture like the upper end of the market and what we think of what people spend. Like the average person comes on our platform and they do like 25K. The average ticket is about 12 and a half K. You'll have outliers where people want to do 80, 100, 200K from a dozen different cards. But the majority of people obviously don't have that. However, 80% of American adults do have a credit card
Mhm,
and they're willing to make a payment that is a few $100. And being able to have a system that can automatically do that without calls, docs,
mhm,
text, emails, and all that stuff was going to be the difference between making this a financial service business
mhm.
and making it a household tech platform. And that's where we are today.
Wow. I think about I'm 30 years old now. I think about my journey from 22 to now when I graduated college from with entrepreneurship. If I had known about what is possible with debt and credit,
Mhm.
I don't think my other businesses would have failed because they failed because I gave up
Yep.
because I was playing with my own cash,
Yep.
which wasn't enough to buy me enough time to actually win.
Yep.
And I remember when I got, 0% interest for 18 months on one card, 0% interest for 24 months on another card.
Yep.
It bought me that time. And um, I think more people just need to be educated on why there is good debt and why there is bad debt.
Correct.
And to me, bad debt is gambling, prostitution, and drugs.
Yep.
If you're using credit to make money or try to make money, it doesn't matter what your parents or your friends say because the question you should be asking yourself is, are they rich or are they middle class like you? Because if they're middle class like you and you want to be rich, then they are not correct. But what would you say to people like, and I'm curious to know on your journey too, like
Mhm.
you had a couple businesses fail.
Yep.
Did people tell you to go get a job? What kept you in the game?
Absolutely. So I'll preface my lowest point uh, was when I graduated college. I had about I had a little over $250,000 in debt.
From
And
student loans or from
oh
business?
no, oh, from business.
From e-commerce?
I even took out student loans for e-commerce.
Oh,
So
wow.
fortunately was in a position where my mom and dad they worked really hard to where they had a fund to where I could go to college. And I'm extremely blessed and thankful for that. However, all the doing of the debt and all the doing of business came from me and my efforts and my failures. I had I have a booklet still. I have about 20 or so credit cards from 3 or 4 different LLCs. And through the first failure of my e-commerce project and through the second failure of a smaller e-commerce project and the third failure of a real estate project, all throughout college, I ended up with all this debt. And I looked at it and I knew it sucked. It sucked, not gonna lie. But I knew that because I had a business at one point that was making me 10, 15, 18K a month profit in college. Why would I try and go get something? There were engineering fairs, job fairs, all this stuff where I could go and apply and go get a job. And I thought about it. I really did. It crossed my mind, but in my opinion, when you're bitten by the bug, you will do anything and everything to not go down that route. Because when you kind of see what's on the other side and
Mm,
you see people who are successful, whether that's friends or anyone else in this space, it's worth a shot. And
yeah,
for me, I felt that that shot was worth it, even with a quarter million dollars uh, in credit card debt. Um, being able to lessen my expenses, being able to lessen my expenses, and being able to work diligently on this business, I was able to pay and take care of that. I
yeah,
couldn't be more thankful. And now that I know the well, the double-edged sword that credit can be,
yeah,
I'm extremely thankful but knowledgeable about doing anything with credit like that again. And
yeah,
by all means, it's a great tool. By all means, it's worth a shot, worth
yeah,
trying. And for me, I was told that I should go get a job. I should go get something. I have a degree. I'm like, well, I mean, why not? It's a decent school, but I didn't want to. I
yeah,
didn't want to. I built something I was fond of building. I was okay with working 8, 10, 12 hours a day for myself than 8 hours to the man
yeah,
because it meant more. And life is kind of all about fulfillment. And if you can get fulfillment with what you do,
yeah.
then you should continue doing that.
100%. And that's why I say, look, if you're fulfilled from your job, work your job.
Agreed.
Most people just don't seem to be,
Yep.
right? And that's because they know that they're not free.
Yep.
They get their 10 days of PTO a year, maybe 2 weeks. And even when they go, they get kind of reprimanded for it.
Yep.
No one wants you to take time off from building their dream.
Yep.
They don't have location freedom, right? So they have
Correct.
to live in an area that is probably too expensive for their salary, or they have to live in the middle of nowhere because there's not enough jobs. My friend lives in the Midwest. No shade to the Midwest, but most people aren't like, yeah, I really want to live in the Midwest.
Yep.
No, they want to live in a nice area where there's maybe good weather, a beach, good social scene, so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
And what I'll say is this, guys and girls that are listening: if you leverage debt like I did and try to start a business, be prepared. It's going to be a lot of work.
Yep.
Okay, regardless. That is why I always say my clients work way less hard than I ever did and currently do. But they still have location freedom.
Yep.
They still have a winning system and they make 10 to 30K a month. And for most people, that's enough. And trading doesn't take a lot of time, which is
Yep.
why I say leveraging debt to get into the stock market is one of the best investments you can make in yourself because it's not the pain in the ass that running a business is. It's not the trials and tribulations that running a business is, the wins and losses. Now, yes, are there losses in trading? Sure. But with a winning system, the wins really outweigh the losses
Yep.
and you're able to pay your debt off much faster than I even was when I was on this journey. So like I'm sure you can probably say the same with everything you've
Absolutely.
gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is there's ebbs and flows, and you have to kind of mentally prepare for that going into stuff like this. It's not as pretty as everyone makes it, no matter how many supercars online you see, no matter how many nice dinners. There's a reason why people don't post the struggle. It's because it sucks.
Yeah,
It sucks. And there's people who do, and they're real. And that's amazing. And I believe that you should be authentic with everything that you do. Um, business is it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, just like how a regular job is not for everyone. It's
sure.
just kind of up to what your goals are, what you deem is enough, and what you deem is also fulfilling. And by all means, if you continue on that path, I think that you'll live that life personally, uh, feeling fulfilled. And you might have regrets. I think we all do at some level, or all will at some level. But what's important is that you choose to chase after something that you feel is worth chasing after.
For sure. And I remember my last sales manager when I worked in tech
Mhm.
told me this. She was like, "Cam, not everybody can just do what you do." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, I don't wanna start a business. I like, um, free lunch, and I like going to the office, and I like collaborating with other people." And she told herself the story that has allowed her to live the life that she does. She's in
Yep.
her early 40s, she's married with kids, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's
Absolutely.
all about what you want. For me, God kind of told me that a job was not my move because even though I was a top performer at every company I worked at, I kept getting fired
Yep.
for not being a culture fit.
Yep.
And the truth is, I'm not a culture fit, which is why I'm an entrepreneur and I can say whatever the hell I want now.
Yep.
And I love that because that is what attracts people to me, that draws people to work with me, get results, and work with me for year after year after year after year because I'm giving them everything that I am. And I look back at like even the last company I worked at, and they used to tell me, they're like, "We have group chats making fun of you." And I'm like, "Right, but you're middle class and you can't live where you want, and my girlfriend's a supermodel and yours isn't. So like what who won, right? Like did I lose? Because I don't think I lost,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
like there's always going to be people that are like trying to knock what you're doing. And
Yep.
I have a couple friends from my last company. One of them, I was like telling him, I'm like, bro, like you came to me and told me you want to do something different. You don't want to do this forever. But your actions are not reflecting that mindset.
Yep.
And you know what he tells me? He tells me, yeah, but Cam, I didn't grow up with money. So what did he even say? It was like, I didn't grow up with money, so like I can't just lose $500. And I'm like, okay, well, if you can't lose $500, even though you make 175K a year, something is wrong
Yep.
because either you're not leveraging debt strategically or you're just too pussy to win. And that's okay, but just be prepared to make 175K a year and be stuck in San Francisco for the rest of your life where it's lower middle class. If
Yeah.
that's what you want, that's fine. But you told me you didn't want that. So when I push you to be better, I'm not going to say his name, but he knows. When I push you to be a better version of yourself, don't feel a type of way. You told me you wanted that.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's definitely been a couple of cases like that with myself and the kids I went to college with. Even there's a kid, and he texts me periodically. He wanted to do drop shipping. He was like, "Hey, I want to learn all about drop shipping. I want to learn this, that, and the other." I have a couple of friends who have courses and groups and mentorships and content online. And I said, "Hey, watch this. Soak it in. You don't have to spend any money. You can learn for free." After that, he's like, "Can you help me?" Well, my e-commerce experience, like, yes, I have done drop shipping before. I mainly was in Amazon FBA and branded Shopify. Uh, so I could theoretically I could help him, but I told him, I said, if you make your first dollar and come to me. I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is. And I reached out to him actually like a month or two after that. I said, "How's everything going?" He's like, "I'm still thinking about it. I'm still going. I'm considering doing it." I said, "I'm gonna hit you back up in like 30, 60 days. And if you haven't done anything, I'm gonna kind of roast you. I'm gonna like get on your head because like you said you wanted to do it, and you're looking for excuses not to."
Yeah.
Um, I did. I hit him up one last time and I said, "How's everything going?" He's like, "I'm not doing it at the moment. I'm just working a job."
Yeah.
And I said, "Great, man." And that was that.
Well,
So
you
yeah,
wasted your own
yeah,
time.
I did.
Like,
I did.
no, no,
And
no, he
yeah.
did.
Oh
He
yeah, well,
did.
he did as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, he did. He did. And it's like it kind of goes to show that I don't know, maybe he didn't want it bad enough. Maybe he was afraid of something. Maybe because there's a stigma that if you're going into business and you're new and you're surrounded by people who aren't doing that,
Yeah.
that they're going to look at you funny. And
Yeah.
most people are afraid of what other folks think. And that really stops a lot of people from doing great things. Because
Yeah.
I believe, in my opinion, that there are a lot of really, really talented people that will not act on their talents because they're afraid of what
What
people might
people
think.
think.
And that's just like, dude, like that sucks. I feel like me personally, like I would take that to the grave.
Yeah.
Because if I was like really good at baking and I'm going to just stay at a culinary school and teach people how to bake, but my dream is to have this really cool concept of of a bakery in a really good location, but I'm afraid of what faculty might think, or I'm afraid of what my students or my network might think because I ditched this whole lifestyle to try on my own. I mean, that dude, like I would take that to the grave. And it's like, well, shit, the farthest it'll ever go is just me baking myself a cake at home,
Yeah.
and wish I had that store up and maybe I have it written on a poster board somewhere that will just sit there and collect dust. So definitely big on acting on your dreams because you, you only have one life, and being
Yeah.
able to say that you at least tried uh, is, I think, is just a decent thing to do.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a line I love from Tanner Chittister. He's a big online business owner,
Mhm.
and he says, "Most people don't need more information. They just" I'm sorry. What he says is, "Most people don't need more time to make a decision. They just think they need more time. But
Correct.
in reality, they have all the information they need, and they just say they need to think about it to delay making the decision because they
Correct.
don't want to make it. And they
Correct.
actually don't end up saying no. They just don't end up saying yes, and they just end up doing nothing, but they think they're still thinking about it and waiting for the right time, and they convince themselves that that's what they're doing just to keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it
Yeah,
off."
yeah, and even people who do act on it and people who do take a stab at something, a good chunk of those folks probably wish they started earlier and almost might kick themselves for being like, "Why was I hesitant? Why was I afraid of what people think when this is something that I want to do that's going to fulfill me and going to reach my goals to live the life that I want to live?" I definitely wish I started earlier. I have friends who started when they were like 16, 17, 18. I started when I was like 20, 21. And I'm like, damn, if I had an extra 3 or 4 years, I'm 25 now, but if I had an extra 3 or 4 years, like who knows?
Yep,
So that's like something that I might take to the grave. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm doing what I want. I'm doing the things that I want to do to build the life that I want to live. And I'm not going to knock that because I made the step into the void and I'm continuing that path, even though there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of ups and downs, but man, it is fulfilling and
yep,
it is what I want to do. And that's what I encourage people is to do what you want to do, whether that is buying a program, investing in something, or cheering from the sidelines.
absolutely. Great, this has been awesome. Where can people get involved with Cashew?
Yeah, absolutely. So, cashewpay.com, or Cashew, or try Cashew on all social media platforms. Myself, Jay Gray Friend on all social medias. I've been working really hard on building my personal brand to try and get out there on Twitter. That's been big. Been a lot of fun doing that. So sharing that with folks. But yeah, Jay Gray Friend on Twitter and cashewpay.com and try Cashew on all internet. So
And guys, last thing I'll say before we head out is, if you're not willing to take risk, don't expect reward.
correct.
Expect more of the same thing that you're getting now. And if you think leveraging credit or leveraging debt or turning credit into cash is too risky, then ask yourself, why am I where I'm at? Because I did it. I just didn't do it through him. Okay. But I've done exactly what he offers. And I'm very, very successful because of it. And I'm telling you, you don't need family money. You don't need a loan from a friend. You just need to be strategic about understanding what's out there and what banks are willing to offer you so you can buy yourself time to become successful and live the life that you want. Anything else you want to say?
That's it. Thanks so much.
Talk to you guys soon.